to glory. I think we can actually say that we're on our way. 5-1.
Wow. Dark.
Dang.
That might be overstepping it a little bit, but we're 5-1. Nebraska's 5-1, beating Rutgers 14-7. I'm Hunter Zarbernicki, Austin Rose, Dakota Freetag, Return to Glory podcast. I haven't said this in a while. We're live on, not live, I guess, but you can watch us on YouTube if you want to watch. I think we're figuring out that maybe people still like to listen to podcasts. I do too. That's totally okay. But we are out there on YouTube if you want to watch, and also still able to listen on all the platforms: Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, whatever else is out there. We are there. Nebraska is 5-1. Regardless of how the game goes and what people say, that is what's most important. That was what was on my mind the whole time after the game. I don't care. And there's going to be things that everybody talks about because that's what we do. We're 5-1. And we have been 5-1. I think I saw 10 times since 2000 and only 2 times in the last 10 years. 5-1 or better.
Feels pretty good. I agree. It wasn't the prettiest, but who cares? We won. We don't, and that could be an argument on how good Rutgers is or not. We don't know. We don't know. I feel, if people start breaking down our wins, we really don't know if any of the teams we beat are good, but they might also not be bad. It kind of looks like Colorado might be better than we thought. Illinois might be worse than we thought, but yeah, how pleasant to be 5-1 and one game away from bowl eligibility already. Although
You
this is
can't.
this is what was
Oh,
expected, right, Dak? You thought we were gonna go
yeah,
seven?
yeah. You can't. I think the wind factored into that game a lot more than what people think. With the passing game and stuff, it was super windy out, and yeah, it wasn't pretty, but you can't complain about a win, especially the last 10 years have been.
Right.
And one side of the ball looked great, one side of the ball didn't. That's basically the name of the game right there.
I think that's the point, though. I mean, are these teams good or not? Actually good. I don't know. I don't care at this point. We have struggled to beat anybody
Right.
past few years. So I guess if you are thinking about it in terms of expectation of going 7-0 and dominating these teams, maybe, but I didn't think we were going to go 7-0. I still think 6-1 is going to be good, and that
Ooh.
possibility is there. Now, you talk about ugly wins or whatever that means. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was ugly, but it went where we got a lead. And yeah, you don't want to say we were playing not to lose, but at the same time, I just felt we were playing smarter the whole
Right.
game once we got
Smart.
that lead. And that game, more importantly than any, is getting a lead against Rutgers, because a team like that, they get a lead on you, you're in trouble. And Dak, you said it, the wind. Shiano said it post game press conference, like he has never seen a game or played a game like that wasn't in like a monsoon or a blizzard. It was just weird. It was hot, but the wind was out of the north.
Were you
Uh,
guys both at the game?
No,
You
I
were.
let tailgate sweat my dick off.
So
yeah,
you were.
it was somewhat windy. I wouldn't say you could where you're sitting in the crowd. It didn't feel like it was horrible, but you could definitely see the flags moving.
Mhm.
They said the wind was going to be out of the south, and then
But
Rule said it. They switched. It switched about 3-4 o'clock, right at the start
didn't
of
it
the game.
die? Didn't the wind die basically like second half?
Yeah, a little. The flags were still blowing. It wasn't as bad as it was the first half.
I thought it went from like blowing super hard to basically dead.
It wasn't. It didn't just completely die. No, but
Well,
the wind definitely blew a lot early on, and that factored in, I think, to a lot of the play calling too. Particularly, and one point of emphasis here is the play calling on Rutgers side and the strategy that they had of getting Monungai going, which everybody knew and thought they were going to do. 8 carries for, I believe it was like 54 yards in the first quarter. We were maybe on our heels a little bit. And then they give him the ball twice in the second quarter. I think he finished with 19 carries. Impressive. Like, start off with our defense. And will say it, out coaching whatever you think of. Okay, hold on, Dak. What's going on with your eyes right now?
It's my left eye's all fucked up.
You're like crying.
I'm like trying
squinting.
to,
I had
yeah,
to
no,
stop. I'm like,
it
are
hurts.
you okay?
It hurts. Yeah, probably need to take my contact out, but we'll worry about that later.
Go do that if you need to.
No, we're good. We're good.
Oh boy. So anyways, I just thought our defense outcoached, and Tony White specifically outcoached what Rutgers was trying to do. And it sounded like maybe we even threw some new stuff at them, bringing in the quote unquote bigger guys, and it worked really well. Rutgers offense, no, they're not going to be Ohio State here in a few weeks, but at the same time, we stopped what they wanted to do, and it won us the football game.
I will say, I do think that Monangai did get in the end zone on that one that was not called at the goal line. But aside from that, I agree. I think I saw some ridiculous post, some tweet about like we're the only team in the country to hold players under, what was it, 14 points?
I got it right here, which it's the stat.
It's like a lot of stats.
I've heard this and seen it a billion places, so we might as well just repeat it. 43 FBS defenses have forced at least 8 turnovers. 16 have recorded at least 15 sacks. 11 are allowing less than 14 points per game. Only one is doing all 3, and that's Nebraska. And then on top of that, we are the only Power 5 school that has not allowed a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. Now again, you could argue the teams we've played have not been that great, but
I don't even want to like make those arguments or talk about those anymore, because people are going to try to justify it that way, and that's fine if that's what you want to do, and maybe they'll be right. But at the same time, it's like we're 5-1, and
right
are not teams.
You confidently know a couple of those teams are good.
Yeah, you know they're good. I agree. Yep.
But again, what's good when you're comparing them? I don't know. I mean, the way the rule's trying to get the players to think, and I think he's doing a good job of it. And I think for some people, it's bleeding into the fans. It's a Big Ten opponent. It's not a good Big Ten opponent, a bad. I'm trying to think of them when I try to do it. I do it in tiers in my mind. I think there's 3 teams, potentially maybe 4 in tier 1. I think potentially there's a bottom tier of about 3 teams, but then there's 10 to 12 teams all in that middle, and we're one of them. Illinois is one of them. Rutgers is one of them. Indiana's one of them. So beating those teams, however you have to do it, is a positive. Wisconsin's now in there. Iowa, I think, is probably in there. There's so many that are in that middle tier that, to me, it's another Big Ten team. It's not a good or a bad opponent. It's another Big Ten team that we need to win, because we haven't done that in recent years.
Now, are you counting your chickens before they hatch? Earlier you said 6-1. You counting the Indiana game already as a win?
No, I said potentially. I said that'd be
I was gonna say I'm pretty.
That'd
confident.
be the goal. I mean, I think that'd be good.
I'm pretty confident Indiana's good.
But again, we say good. What I'm saying is they're not a top tier team. They're not in the top 3 of the Big Ten.
Could be.
No, they're not. Indiana would get slaughtered by Ohio State. Oregon.
Probably use the Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State.
Penn State's one where I'm not quite sure, but what I'm saying is Penn State is, or Indiana's maybe quote unquote good, but they're in that next tier with us. And yeah, maybe they're better. I mean, who knows? But they're in that next tier. So is Rutgers. Like, you can't tell me Indiana and Rutgers playing. It's not going to be a 14-point spread. It's going to be a less than a touchdown points. I mean, that's what it's going to be, a 1-score game. We hear that a lot, that we finally got a win in.
It was, yeah. Because I mean, honestly, this was one of the first games where it was a 1-score game and Rutgers had the ball. I don't remember exactly what the time mark was, but I wasn't worried. I was like, I think we got this one. Like, I don't think we're going to blow this game.
I had similar feelings of that in the stadium, which you feel like maybe we're scarred enough to remember that. I don't know. I just didn't. When they scored to cut to 1 possession with 4 minutes left or whatever, I just never felt like they can't. They're not going to do it. Like, Callie McManus is not good. Our defense is playing so well.
He got exposed.
We can't. We're not going to blow this. There's no way. We're not turning it over. Besides the one interception, but it just seemed like we were in control of the game, even though things maybe started slipping a little bit. I just didn't feel like it was us making mistakes. It was just a product of the way we were playing.
Right. We were not necessarily conservative, but we were definitely running the ball more in the second half, regardless of whether it was being successful or not.
Yeah. Kalkmakis, is that how you say his name?
Just call him AK-47.
AK-47 definitely got exposed. He sucks so much yesterday. He couldn't hit an ocean standing on a beach. He was awful.
Can we put the quote up from Sunday where Dak said most improved quarterback in the Big Ten?
I said that?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he looked awful. He didn't run. He didn't try to run that much either. I don't know what the hell he was trying to do.
I was surprised they didn't try to run him a little more.
Not at all. I figured they do a little read option. He's quicker than what people think. He killed you in Minnesota with his legs. But also, Raiola didn't have a great stellar game either. I have their stats here combined. They went 28 of 64, 320 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks.
Not great. Pretty windy.
Yep. And that pick Raiola threw is pretty bad.
Yeah, not gonna move on to offense quite yet. Defensively, I want to give a shout out on the goal line stand, not once but twice after the penalty. Austin, you mentioned that the touchdown that maybe he got in on. What's funny, I heard that, and it must have been from Shiano's press conference. They did not challenge it or review it because the replay official had called down and told the ref, and the ref told Shiano, "We've already looked at this. You don't want to challenge it."
Oh, really?
And said that he wasn't in.
Didn't know you could do that.
Basically, just kind of pre-informs that you can if you want, but he wasn't in. Like they basically told him preemptively, which I think I don't know. I never went back and watched the play, but that is what he was told and what got said, which is interesting. I didn't know either. That was a
The
thing.
only way I could see that is inconclusive. Like call stands. I don't know if they could have confirmed it. I really did think he was in. But
and maybe that's what it was. They just said we had our 6 camera angles. There's not one where you can see the ball. Sorry. That might have been the extent of it. So anyways, that was interesting. But the goal line stand, wow. I just gotta say that changes the entire momentum of the way that fourth quarter went. And yes, they still end up scoring later on, but you score early on in the fourth quarter, I believe it's a lot different than scoring when they did and had to be a lot more desperate at that time. And it did change, I think, how we called the game offensively. But it's a huge shout out. And again, Tony White, we challenged you. Everybody was questioning after the Illinois game, what's going on with this defense? He has continued to be creative and adapt to what we need to do defensively and play a lot of different guys. We played a different personnel group this year or this game than we have all year. Very impressed. Very good job. Kudos to the defense. You won us a game like this that we needed to win.
Now, who's this walk-on stud that I keep on seeing? I saw a bunch of stats. Is he a walk-on or something like that?
James Williams.
Williams.
Did he just walk on this year? Where'd he come from?
Like a preferred walk-on, like he was a graduate senior and he just kind of open tryout his way onto the team, something like that.
It's been very impressive for him. And then Sierra Wright's the other one that's came on and has been incredible.
Fun fact about Sierra Wright: he portrayed LeBron James's oldest son in Space Jam Legacy. Movie star. I agree. They've honestly all been good. I thought it was funny that Jamari Butler changed his jersey number.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There was a couple people who changed their jersey numbers, which is, I don't know. I didn't really understand because now someone else is number 1. I'm gonna blank on who got the new number 1. So I don't know. Does that still count as like a single digit jersey? Like, if Jamari's swapping the 10?
I love it. I love the change. If it were up to me, I would change numbers every game. I think it'd be confusing. Your players, they wouldn't. I don't know if that's illegal. I mean, you must be able to. I don't know why no one's tried it, especially in football
Yeah, that's
when you're covered up and you can't see
yeah,
the
that's
line.
crazy. No one's tried it because when you link through tape, you look at numbers. You like when you're
I
yelling
think it'd
out.
be fascinating for a team. If you were a bad team, I would be doing it in a heartbeat. Just every
Just
game
check it
changing
out.
numbers. And I don't. Is there a law or rule that you have to submit a roster? I don't know.
There's probably a limit to number of times you can
Yeah,
but yeah, I totally agree. Like just every week, everyone has a new number except for maybe like Gil and Rayola. You
Yeah.
know, like don't worry about Rayola.
Nope.
I will say last thing about the defense, it's kind of given me a little the last couple weeks, like the last 3 games, it's felt a little bend don't breaky. You know, like we're giving up a lot of yards between the 20s, but when it gets down to the red zone, it feels like we're tightening up and not letting touchdowns.
See, and to me, is that a product of the way the game went? Being up 14-0. I know Purdue was flip flopped, right? We were tied and then won, but all these games, like Illinois too. I get that vibe a little bit too, but is it more situational type because we have a lead and we don't have to go gamble or blitz as much in those
Yeah.
situations? I don't know. That's just a thought that might be happening, but clearly it's working. We read the stats. It's doing a good job regardless of who we're playing. So yeah, it's impressive. Dak, any more defensive thoughts?
I'm trying to find anything about if you can change your numbers. Nah, it's impossible to find. The internet says nothing.
Impossible. There's nothing out there in the entire world that we could possibly find.
I just read the rule book about it, and it made no sense to me. So
that's your homework for Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it on the fly right now. I didn't find it all. But what was your question?
Last defensive comments, Dak.
Okay. I thought, yeah. I mean, the defense played great, but was it also AK-47 played terrible?
Probably both.
Yeah, I think it was a mix of both. I mean, defense did play really good. Those goal line stands are awesome. Your D line played great.
Looked really good this game. This is
Can you just start saying our D line?
What?
You say our D line?
Our D line looked great.
Thank you.
I felt wrong. Good.
My non-guy, is that how you say his name too?
Just call him AK-48.
AK-48, you guys bottled him up too? It was a good defense performance.
It was. I agree.
And stopping Monungai was the key, and we did a really good job of that. That's the thing. He is a really good running back. He will get drafted. I'm not going to say he's going to be Pacheco, but he has potential to be a guy like that in the NFL. That was a lot of the comparisons to him. What we did with him early, well, I say early on, he got going, but to close the game out was very impressive. And it was very interesting. I mentioned this earlier, how they kind of stopped going to him, and that may have been a wind thing. I don't know. That's just looking back on the game, whether Rutgers got out-coached. Was it we out-schemed them and forced them to do different things? Potentially. Like, you might just say, oh, Rutgers was stupid, didn't run the ball. Well, maybe we were showing stuff schematically that said, we're going to do this. Also, got to throw this out there, the fake field goal. We'll just do this. The two fake.
What a terrible call.
Field goal, or a fake field goal and then a fake punt. Both were in our favor. The fake field goal they do early on. I've not heard anybody say this. This is funny because I noticed it live. I normally never count players, but for whatever reason, when we were trotting out there, and I think it was me just saying, okay, we're going to do something stupid, like not have enough guys in the field or something. I watched us run out there. We had 10 guys in the field for that field goal.
Oh, no kidding.
And I counted them. I counted them twice, and I counted them 3 times, and I counted them again. And I was asking people, I'm like, yeah, there's 10 guys out there. And then sure enough, they fake it. We stop them. We get the ball back. Maybe that's why. Maybe they have an automatic call for identity.
I bet that's why they faked it. You're right. I mean, if there's 10 guys out there, totally faking it.
And we don't know.
Thank God they did.
My conspiracy, I'm like, well, maybe we knew that them on film would fake it if we only had 10 guys. So we were ready to stop the fake with 10 guys. I was like trying to go down that path. But
that would be
clearly we probably just had 10 guys.
That'd be ballsy.
Yeah. So shout out there. And then second, and we'll just do all of Mr. Brian Buschini in one. Because boy,
was he good.
He
injured.
Almost just
Jesus.
weird as it sounds, won us a game again. And
Yeah.
he won punting the ball. We did have 2 punts blocked. Let's keep that in mind. He also had a snap that went into the ground that he picked up and got off. Obviously, the fake punt that was just a dime on the dot. And then how about the punt at the end to really force them, I will say, have to drive an extra 40 yards to score.
Yeah.
It just felt like, yeah, you talk about an unsung hero on the team. I just keep laughing at Dak's eyes.
Yeah, it's bucket.
I just can't say enough how good of a season he's had so far. And hopefully we don't jinx him, but he's done a very good job at punter. He is saving our entire special teams unit on his own of not making it a complete disaster because he's having a very good year.
I mean, the blocked punts, not necessarily his fault. And I mean, he actively looked, because I mean, I don't know if you could tell in the stands, but like on TV, every time he tried out, you could tell he was hurting. He was kind of limping, and every time he kicked it, you could see him wincing in his face. But yeah, that fake punt, it's good to see a fake special teams play actually work out, especially when we didn't need it. And now, admittedly, I'm pretty sure that drive stalled out, and we ended up having to punt it anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, it ain't more time off the clock. But yeah, he was a freaking rock star.
Yeah, I've never saw. So after the game, he's the one that got interviewed. I've never saw a punter get interviewed for the post game, like on field interview. So that shows you how
Corey
much.
Taylor got interviewed every week last year for Iowa.
Yeah, that shows you how much Iowa I watch. But yeah, that just shows you how good of a game he had. He did basically win you that game. Made him drive long fields the whole game, and that when you can flip the field like that, not have touchbacks all the time, it helps out a lot.
It is definitely a big factor combined with a lot of other things that helps you win football games.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the special teams, we didn't have to see a field goal attempt, which I was very
We could
okay
have.
with.
We went for it on 4th down.
Correct, which I think also was okay. What was interesting, and I don't know, this also just could be coincidence, but during halftime, it would have been after Bushini got popped. John Hole was doing the kickoff at halftime warmups, and our only guy kicking field goals was Nico, however the heck you say his name. 91 is his number. I don't know. It's not the Tennessee quarterback, but it's another weird last name. I don't know if that means he was going to get the shot. He did not kick the extra points. So maybe it was just that Hole needed practice on the kickoffs because Bushini normally does that. And Bushini said, I can't do this because of my hip. But Bushini said, I can still kick punts. Motion must just be different. Matt would think. I don't know. Don't know that well.
Now, is Alvano out for the year, or what the heck's going on there?
Just a hamstring thing. I don't think he's out for the year, though.
I just feel like a hamstring is not good.
What,
Kicking,
for a kicker?
Yeah.
Who's already had the yips? Come on.
It still is a unit that needs to get a lot better all the way through. Bushini needs to carry those guys. Well, Jackson said it last week. Like Bushini's has the momentum and the play right now that's speaking for himself to get all the special team guys, the specialists, long snappers, holders, and get on a mission to put in the extra time to make this unit get better. I'm not going to say it's going to be great. I don't know that we have the quote unquote talent at that position to have an excellent special teams unit, but they have to put in the time and it has to continue to get better for us to win more games. I mean, just in general, no matter who we're playing. Offense. That is kind of, I feel like everybody's mind is just, yeah. And I'm going to start with Dylan Raiola. I feel like we just have to have a Dylan Raiola segment every Sunday because
He's the quarterback.
He's the quarterback, and we're going to talk
Talking to
about the
town.
quarterback. Everybody, I feel like, is down on him this week. And maybe not down, but the words I've heard is he's human. Maybe he's not this, excellent over the top guy. Like he can't have a bad game. Yeah, like I get it.
Soccer.
Did he
Yeah.
have? Did he probably did have his worst game of the year. Missed some throws. I mean, just look at the stats alone. I didn't look at those until today, and I was like, oh yeah, those aren't great. But and that was the headline too on Bleacher Report. I think was Nebraska survives a struggling performance from Dylan Raiola or something like that. Now, I'm going to say this too. It's a product of the way the game went and the position that he was put in. I also think he has sat in his ear. I believe it's probably Sat who he's talking to. And when you're up 14-0 and it's 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8 and you're back to pass, and what I was hearing is that maybe he was looking for his deep guys and not just taking what the defense was giving him. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But as the rush came, obviously we would get sacked, and maybe Sat saying, hey, just don't try to be a hero right now. We don't need that. Like, just go down, right? Don't.
Zach, let the clock run.
It's conservative. Like, be conservative. Don't get fancy. We don't need a fumble in the pocket right now. We don't need a dumb forced pass right now. If it's not wide open, just eat it. Call it good. That's what I'm thinking potentially in the game situation could have happened. Now, there were still throws and times that he missed. Overthrows. The one that sticks out in my mind, I think, was later in the game, the 3rd and I believe it was 3rd and 6, and he had Fedoni in the flats and just would have been a first down, moved the ball, missed it.
He didn't lose us the game.
No,
That's the big thing.
So that's his ties into my other big point about the game. He's obviously much better than what we had last year. But the biggest reason why is he's not turning the ball over. Like fumbles, let's just say it, like handoffs. We couldn't hand the ball off sometimes last year with Jeff Sims and our running
Couldn't
back.
take a snap.
How many times we just
couldn't take a snap.
taking a snap under center. Like it shouldn't be things we're talking about, but they are. Obviously, the interceptions and decision making. This was the first one that I would say is truly on him. Just didn't see the guy. But it's because we're not turning it over. We are a very similar team to last year. We are. We are so similar. People might not like to hear that. There's not much difference. Maybe we have a few bit more playmakers on the outside. But the biggest difference is that Dylan Raiola is not turning the ball over as the game manager, as the quarterback. And that continued to be a reason why we won. And then other side of that, defense, we're forcing turnovers this year. That was one thing that was emphasized and stressed. We talked about it. Everyone talked about it. They're doing a phenomenal job on that. So another defensive shout out. That's the other side of the turnovers. But Dylan Raiola still, yeah, maybe he didn't have his best game, but it's not like he was disastrous. That game was still as good, if not better, than what 8 or 9 of our games last year from our quarterback.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
like, think about that. Like as that as that sounds, like we should go back and look at those games and what happened. Like Heinrich had a good game against Illinois.
Henry, that's the
what,
one.
What else? What other games stick out that our quarterbacks played well, and that performance this week would be less than that?
Yeah, yes, that is kind of true. No, I agree. Like I was not. No point during the game. Now, admittedly, I was watching it on tape delay, like an old person. I recorded the game and watched it at 9 o'clock at night. But there no point during the game where I was like, "Oh my gosh, Dylan, what are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, he missed that guy." But we were also really conservative with running the ball. It's like, did we need to run the ball with, 2nd and 9? Probably not, but we did. And now we're in a 3rd and long situation, but we're bleeding out the clock. Like, okay, like this feels like you're right. This feels all part of the game plan and the situation of the game. Of we're up 2 scores on a team that likes to run and burn the clock slowly. Like, let's just also burn the clock and put them in a position. Dylan needs to get 3rd down conversions. I'm sure he didn't do great. Bad interception, but Yeah, like I said, he just didn't lose us the game. Last year we would have lost the game probably because someone would have tried to force a pass on a 3rd and 6 in the 4th quarter and turned the ball over or fumbled it, and then Rutgers goes down and scores and we lose in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
He's a freshman, and you're gonna have games like that. But the main thing about it is when he's struggling like that, at least he didn't turn the ball over to make it worse. Because when your quarterback struggle like that, that can easily be a 4 or 5 pick game, and they lose the game for you. You could tell it wasn't his day from the beginning. Basically, he was sailing passes and stuff. But yeah, the main part is didn't turn it over and got out of there with a win.
Yeah, we keep saying didn't turn it over. He did have the one pick.
That was a pretty bad pick.
But
He
yes,
did turn it over in a bad position at the end of the game when it really was like this.
And the other, you don't count it stat wise as a turnover, but obviously the blocked punts, the one specifically that they returned to whatever the 2-yard line, which we did get the stop on, that just feels like a turnover and maybe even worse because of the return after. So yeah, that's not obviously on Dylan Raiola, but it doesn't count as a stat. Also got to mention that. Here's where I think offensively that there's a lot of questions to be answered. We got to show improvement on, which we have a bye week. It's a great time to work on it. We have to be more effective in our play calling so that we're not predictable. That to me is most important. And again, you're up 14-0. Maybe the mindset is our defense will win us this game. We can be predictable and we are going to run the ball and screw it. Now, we've shown that maybe we're not able to do that as effectively as before. So we're going to have to scheme up some different plays to be unpredictable. The one this week that I loved, there's a couple of really good ones, but the one was the screen pass early on there that we threw to Ramir off of the fake jet action and then came back to Ramir. Like that was a well-designed, I'm going to call it a cute play, but it was something different. Now, along with those cute kind of gadget type plays that we have, we also just have to be a little bit different on offense. Now, some people aren't going to like that because that might mean throwing it on first down a little bit. We didn't take many shots down the field this week deep, which maybe is a product of the wind. It might look different, but the same people that are saying, man, we can't run the ball, we're not going to be able to establish a run. Well, it's not like if you want to be better at running the ball, you can't just try to keep running it and not change anything. You got to start throwing in some different things. And those are going to be the same people that win. We do start throwing it on first down that are going to say, why are we not just running at the ball on first and second down? So there's a give and take there. And I think that's why coaching matters and what they get paid to do is to be creative, call the right plays at the right time, given the situation. And the situation on Saturday was we're early on, we got up 14-0. Great job. Would it have been nice? And Rule even said it to push it to 21-0. Yeah, like that's what I was talking about in the stands too. It was, man, a really good team right now on this drive would just put together a 7-minute drive and just go score with 5 minutes left to go up 21-0. Then there's no question. I'm like, yeah, they would. I don't know that we're there yet. Would be great if we could do that. So the alternative is what happened, where we played a little more conservative and just said, all right, we're going to win this game. And we did. That's why coming out of it, my mind, we're 5-1. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what people think of the offense in the second half. Like, who gives a crap? We won.
Right. And a lot of people thought Rutgers was going to win. I don't know if you watched game day, but I'm pretty sure half of them picked Rutgers to win. I mean, you and I picked Rutgers to win.
I thought the spread was high. That's also maybe why I feel better about this than a lot of people is I didn't think we were going to win this game. You
picked Rutgers.
I did. I just didn't feel good about the way they played, and
it felt like a bad matchup. Yeah, it felt like a bad matchup, and that we hadn't been playing. Not that we've been playing poorly, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not really how I expected the game to go, but you won. That's all that matters. I thought it was going to be high scoring. I can't remember what I said, 42-24, something like that. Boy, was I off.
I think you have overshot the score in every game so far this year.
by like 30 points every time.
You got to remember, this is the Big Ten, Dak. This isn't your sling aired out OU football that you're used to watching.
I'm not in the Big 12 anymore.
There you go.
Before we go, we'll just do it now. We have a survivor pool winner. Austin's shaking his head no, even though
Wait.
it's him.
I won?
Yep.
Yes, you did.
Knocked out.
You were the only one that survived. UConn almost knocked both Austin and I out. They had I don't know if you saw that, but UConn was up 3.
I saw that.
The last play, and I can't remember who they were playing, was going to Temple, and UConn got the stop, strip, whatever, and scored. That one I thought was going to end. Us didn't. The one that ended me, TCU, got beat by Houston. That
wasn't even close.
That was a big spread too.
Dak losing.
Oh, JMU screwed me.
JMU. So Austin, congrats. Glad we didn't do any fun bet or anything for it.
I'm still gonna keep going.
We'll shoot some fireworks off for you. Fireworks
it.
on Wednesday. We'll shoot them off for you.
I feel like I want to try to see if I get a second chance. I just feel like that's a disgrace to the reality of it. We'll let you keep going though, see if you can make it the whole year.
Yeah. I thought UConn lost. That's why I was shaking my head. I didn't see the last play. I just looked at the time and the score, and I was like, "Oh shit."
Yep, it was unfortunate. Dak, we made it 6 weeks.
Yep, and I was about out of teams that I wanted to pick. Next year, I'm gonna go a little different approach, but
it is bye week this week, so we will have some different episodes planned the next couple of days here. So Wednesday we'll be doing a mid-season award type show. Won't spoil exactly how we're doing it, but we'll be just talking and handing out.
Let's do it now. I'm ready.
Yeah, Dak prepared for this. Didn't read the text right and prepared it for this episode when we're doing it on Wednesday. And then on Sunday we will preview the basketball team. We'll talk a little Indiana, but mainly talk Husker basketball, talk about who we have coming in, who's heading out, what the schedule looks like, so on and so forth, because that's right around the corner already. And then we'll be back to our normal schedule. So bye week, some fun time to talk about. If anybody else has any fun topics too, feel free, shoot them our way.
Red River.
A lot of talk on that.
Shout out to the volleyball team sweeping another team, beat Iowa today.
Iowa sucks,
but man,
we look good.
We have just out after that SMU loss. We're just freaking.
It was a fantastic game to watch.
All right, we'll be back Wednesday. Go Big Red.
GBR.
Boomer Sooner. Fuck Texas.